The term bogan is Australian and New Zealand slang, usually pejorative or self-deprecating, for a person with an unsophisticated background, or whose speech, clothing, attitude and behaviour exemplify a lack of manners and education. Localized names exist that describe the same or very similar groups of people. Etymology: the origin of the term bogan as a pejorative is unclear. Both the Macquarie Dictionary and the Australian Oxford Dictionary cite the origin as unknown. According to anecdote, the term emerged in Melbourne's outer western and outer eastern suburbs in the late 1970s and early 1980s. The term became widely known in the late 1980s when the teenage character Killy Molan's sketch comedy television series The Comedy Company frequently used the term to disparage anyone she disliked. The same program included a sketch about a magazine called Bogan, which featured traditional bogans. Merrick and Rousseau also used the term on their Triple J national radio show. The Australian National Dictionary Centre included the word in its Australian Dictionary project in 1991, and said the earliest use they found was in the September 1985 issue of Surfing magazine tracks, "So what if I have a mohawk and wear Dr. Martens, Doc Martens?" There are places in western New South Wales that contain bogan in their name, for example, Boganshire, the Bogan River and the rural village of Bogan Gatia, but they are not regarded as the source of the term. Residents of streets such as Bogan Place and Bogan Road have been moved to action by the negative connotations of their street names and lobbied to rename them. The 1902 poem City of Dreadful Thirst by Australian poet Banjo Paterson makes reference to a bogan shower as a term meaning 3 raindrops and some dust, although this is likely a reference to the dry area around the Bogan River. Makeshift gates and a rural fence in northwest NSW were known as bogan gates at least as early as the 1960s. In 1995, long-standing West Auckland punk band The Warners released their last album entitled Bogan's Heroes on Wildside Records. Australian ska punk band Area-7 achieved one of their biggest hits with the song Nobody Likes a Bogan, released in 2002. Microsoft deemed bogan to be one of 20 colloquialisms most relevant to Australian users, when the word was added to the dictionary of Microsoft Office 2007. The word bogan entered the Oxford English Dictionary in June 2012. Concept: Mel Campbell argued in a 2006 article in the Sydney Morning Herald that bogan is a nebulous, personal concept that is frequently used in a process by which we use the idea of the bogan to quarantine ideas of Australianness that alarm or discomfort us. It's a way of erecting imaginary cultural barriers between us and them. Campbell argues that though many people believe they know exactly what a bogan is and what their characteristics might be, there is no defined set of characteristics of a bogan. The speaker imagines the denoted person to be different from, and less cultured than, themselves. Campbell considered cashed-up bogan to be a stupid term. A similar argument is made by David Nichols, author of The Bogan Delusion, who says that people have created this creature that is a lesser human being to express their interclass hatred. The popular website Things Bogans Like contains 250 articles on various things that bogans are claimed to like, and suggests that a bogan today defies income, class, race, creed, gender and logic. Certain types of clothing are stereotypically associated with bogans, including flannelette shirts, monkey hoodies, stubbies shorts, ute boots, jeans and black leggings. Victorian bogans typically wore acid-washed jeans, ute boots, and band t-shirts. Had mullet-style haircuts. And lived in the suburbs. In the mid-1990s, New Zealand bogans were stereotypically clothed in all black. Super taper black jeans were fairly standard and black woolen jersey. Long fringe or long hair in general was usual also. Vehicles such as the Holden Commodore and Ford Falcon, particularly modified or poorly maintained examples, also have similar associations. Non-pejorative usage: the term bogan has been employed favorably to indicate being proudly unfashionable or rough around the edges. Radio station Triple J held a National Bogan Day on June 28, 2002, which they commemorated by playing music by bands such as Cold Chisel, Midnight Oil, Rose Tattoo and AC/DC. Use in marketing: CUB, or cashed-up bogan, was used by one marketing researcher in 2006 to describe people of a blue-collar background now earning a high salary and spending their earnings on expensive consumer items as a matter of conspicuous consumption. The media had used tennis player Leighton Hewitt and his actress wife, Beck Cartwright, as examples. Subsequently, the Keosler Winery, in the Barossa Valley, released a Shiraz wine under the name Bogan. Regional equivalent terms. Although the term Bogan is understood across Australia and New Zealand, certain regions have their own slang terms for the same group of people. These terms include, shigger in Hobart, Tasmania. This appears to be a reference to the Hobart suburb of Shigwell. Another usage is that of Gagey, referring to Gagebrook, Bevan, or Bevan, Queensland, Scozza in Geelong, Victoria, Australia. Lexi in St Kilda, Victoria, Australia. The term Westie, or Westie is not synonymous with Bogan, although Westies are often stereotyped as being Bogans. Westie seems to predate Bogan by some years, and originated in Sydney in the 1970s, to refer to people from that city's western suburbs. As Sydney's western suburbs are predominantly working-class blue-collar areas, the term connotes a predominantly working-class blue-collar person, someone with little education, little intelligence, little taste, and very limited horizons. Westie is now in wide use in many cities and towns across both Australia and New Zealand, where it especially refers to the denizens of West Auckland. Other stereotypes and subcultures, hoon, poker, bodges and widges, sharpies, yobbo, feral, Westie, international, villero or negro villero, baraki, favelado, malocero upa copyright rapedo, hoser, flight, aero, Brian and Connie, Junty, both, prolet, primates, assi, LA, javad, bogger, skanga, ars or k tomorrow, nakamono, runkelis, nako, toki, spide, jegerman, dres, bidlo, ned, abeng, zeph, hortrakani, raga, shoy or oo marsh, chav, pikey, scully, hoopy, redneck, skid, white trash, planke taraja, concepts, classism, class conflict, peasantry, see also, Kath and Kim, houses, upper middle Bogan, Bogan hunters, outrageous fortune, TV series, references. External links, Bogans, the movie, Speak Bogan.